As an active member of the Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary, you are automatically insured for your participation within the auxiliary. Whether it is routine activities or possibly dangerous and life-threatening missions, the CCGA insurance plan is in place as a safety net for you. We want to ensure you are protected in the event of an accident while on a CCGA authorized activity. Being aware of the scope of coverage provided by the CCGA ensures you, your crew, and your vessel are well looked after, on and off the water. There are two types of insurance coverage that the CCGA has in place for its members: group accident coverage and marine and non-marine coverage. Each type of insurance is discussed in the accompanying videos. Please note these videos provide an overview of CCGA coverage for general purposes only. For more detailed information, please consult the relevant insurance guide found on the CCGA website. For legal interpretation, the text of the actual policies and contractual agreements is the proper source of reference. From the menu which will appear, please choose which coverage you would like to know more about. This video is a general overview of the group accident coverage you are insured for through the Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary. Currently, this insurance coverage for the CCGA is provided by Chartis Insurance Company of Canada and ACE INA Canada. Group accident insurance provides protection against accidental death, dismemberment, paralysis, permanent total disability, and temporary total disability for those participating in an authorized Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary activity. The coverage provided to the CCGA includes the accidental death and dismemberment, or AD&D principal sum, and the accident reimbursement benefit for excess medical expenses. The principal sum is the amount payable in the event of accidental death. Losses covered are assigned percentages based on the severity of the loss, with accidental death, loss of life, rated at 100% of the principal sum. Other examples: loss of a limb would be 80% of the principal sum. Hearing in one ear, 67%. Paralysis benefits are 200% of the principal sum. Consult the Group Accident Insurance Summary on the CCGA website for specific benefit amounts. The level of coverage you are entitled to receive is related to your affiliation or classification in the organization at the time of the accident. That is, whether you are a member, dependent, employee, or guest of the CCGA. These are categorized in insurance terms as classes. Again, coverage is only for accidents that occurred through participation in an authorized Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary activity. There are 5 classes of insurance coverage within the CCGA. Class 1 encompasses all volunteers, whether they be members, volunteer members, or volunteer non-members. Members are those who are officially registered members of the CCGA. Volunteer members are those who have volunteered to participate in a specific CCGA authorized activity. Volunteer non-members are those who become involved by circumstance, for example because they are on board a CCGA vessel when that vessel is tasked with a CCGA authorized activity. Class 2 includes all dependent children of individuals insured under Class 1. Class 3 includes CCGA employees, contract employees, and consultants. Class 4 involves guests of the CCGA. Class 5 covers junior members of the auxiliary. Junior members are members under the age of 18. We will now outline the amount of coverage in dollars associated with each insured class, including the level of benefits that can be expected depending on the severity of the injury. Coverage for Class 1, members, volunteer members, and volunteer non-members, and Class 5, junior members. This coverage applies if the accident occurred while the insured person was participating in CCGA conducted or authorized activities. This includes all circumstances occurring while the insured person is carrying out volunteer duties or traveling to or from the location where the volunteer duties will be taking place. The principal sum for Class 1 in case of an accident is $1,500,000. The principal sum for Class 5 is $50,000. Class 2, dependent children, are insured for all circumstances when they accompany their parent, a Class 1 insured person, while the parent carries out CCGA volunteer duties. The principal sum in the case of an accident for Class 2 is $100,000. Spouses are not considered dependents and are not insured unless they are also members or volunteers. Class 3, employees, contract employees, and consultants are insured for any injuries sustained and occurring during the person's normal course of duties for the CCGA and while traveling on their behalf. The principal sum for Class 3 is $1,500,000. Class 4, guests of the CCGA, are insured for injuries sustained and occurring while the insured person is participating in guest activities authorized by the policyholder. The principal sum for Class 4 is $500,000. Temporary total disability, or TTD, is another level of compensation covered through the CCGA plan. Only members, Class 1, and employees, Class 3, are eligible. If the individual is employed at the time of the accident, TTD is defined as injuries sustained in a CCGA accident which prevent the member or employee from working at his or her regular occupation. Furthermore, the injury causes a condition which is medically determined by a physician to be continuous and requires continuous care. If the injured individual belongs to Class 1 and is not employed at the time of the accident, the injury must prevent the person from performing duties for which they are qualified. They also must be under the continuous care of a physician. The number of weeks Class 1 members, volunteer members, and volunteer non-members may receive employment compensation is up to a maximum of 104 weeks. The number of weeks Class 3 CCGA employees may receive employment compensation is up to a maximum of 52 weeks. The employment compensation amount for Class 1, if employed at the time of the accident, and Class 3 persons is 75% of the individual's earnings, up to a maximum of $1,000 per week. For Class 1 persons who are unemployed at the time of the accident, the benefit amount is $250 per week, up to a maximum of 104 weeks. The elimination period for Class 3 is 7 days. There is no elimination period for Class 1. An elimination period is an insurance term referring to the amount of consecutive days, weeks, months that must elapse before payment will be made to a qualified and approved insured person. TTD for Class 1 also includes total disability resulting from a traumatic event conditional on medical diagnosis of a psychological trauma confirmed by a physician. The Class 1 member must be actively employed at the time of the event. The benefit is payable up to a maximum of 26 weeks. Permanent total disability, PTD, refers to accidental injuries sustained while carrying out CCGA duties. PTD benefits apply only to those individuals who fall under Class 1. Permanent total disability is defined as having sustained injuries that totally and permanently disable the insured person and prevent the insured person from performing at least 2 of the 6 activities of daily living without assistance from another person for the remainder of his or her life. The 6 activities include bathing, dressing, toileting, bladder and bowel continence, transferring and feeding. For example, bathing, getting in and out of a tub or shower, transferring from a bed to a wheelchair, dressing, putting on, taking off clothing, etc. The disability must have continued for a period of 12 months and be total, permanent, and irreversible at the end of this period. It is important to note that persons aged 70 or older are not eligible for this benefit. Excess accidental medical expense for all classes of insured persons covers medical services required as a result of injury arising from participation in a CCGA authorized activity. These include but are not restricted to private duty nursing, ambulance transportation costs, hospital charges, rental of medical equipment, artificial limbs, etc. Expenses must have been incurred in Canada within 52 weeks of the accident and be only for therapeutic treatment. Although there are ancillary benefits that apply to all classifications, the heart and circulatory malfunction benefit is unique to Class 1. To qualify, the insured person must have suffered a heart or circulatory malfunction within 24 hours of participating in a tasking authorized by the CCGA. He or she must be under 65 years of age. Certain other restrictions, such as recent medical history, also apply. Consult the insurance summary for details. If all the conditions are met, the insured is covered for claims under this benefit, including medical expense, TTD, or loss of life. The benefit amount for this is $250,000. There are also a number of other secondary or ancillary benefits to which all insured persons have access, unless specified otherwise in the contract. These benefits pertain to assistance that may be necessary during the recovery time following an accident. The ancillary benefits to which all classes have access include, but are not limited to, childcare, family transportation, psychological therapy, rehabilitation, home or vehicle adaptation, funeral expenses, repatriation, dependent child and spousal education benefits, and out-of-pocket expenses. There are also a number of medical conditions to which coverage does not apply. These include emotional trauma, mental or physical illness, disease, pregnancy, childbirth or miscarriage, bacterial infection, viral infection, and suicide or intentional injury. The information provided in this video is simply an overview of the insurance coverage provided for members, volunteers, employees, guests, and other affiliates of the CCGA. For complete information about group accident insurance, look up the insurance summary and the insurance FAQs on the CCGA website.